Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
CBR Street Gang, this is all by standing by, over.
All right, let's check on the microphone here. Let me know if you can hear me okay. I know that there's music still, but if you can hear my voice, let me know in the various chats. We've got YouTube, X, and Twitch going right now. I can only really observe the YouTube chat at the moment until X fixes their API for plugins. They also implemented some bot protection, so I think some of the plugins are having issues connecting. So if you are in Twitch, I do suggest you head on over to Landy's Crypto Corner as well on YouTube. I can easily observe the chat there. So let me know if you can hear me, and we're going to get started shortly. It appears even that you can hear me okay. We're going to get the music under control and get this rolling. All right, let's go ahead and kill the music on my side as well. And let's jump into it. Hello and welcome to Landy's Crypto Corner. Today is Friday, March 15th, 2024, and we are doing our regular live stream that we do every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, where we take a look at Bitcoin. And in today's live stream, we'll also get to some viewer requests as well. I know that some of you had some requests for different coins. We're going to take a look at some of those as well. And we're going to check out traditional markets. But we are going to start with Bitcoin here. We're going to talk a little bit about meme magic. This is something that has been going around the market a bit. And that is the pullbacks in Bitcoin. And when I say the market, I do actually mean social media a bit. And that is about the average pullbacks that Bitcoin has experienced from swing to swing. Swing high to swing low since 2023. So we're going to take a look at that as they have been a bit of a meme. And, you know, we haven't discussed it much here, but it's been floating around for quite a bit. We've had swing to swing corrections that have been around 21%. I'm throw on a swing indicator here just to help out. And since the actual market low, back in 2022, coming into 2023, we saw a pretty substantial run up on the swing high to swing low, and we can measure that. So we can get in here and take the swing high to swing low, and we can see that it was about 22%. We can see that the next swing high to major swing low before a reversal in this case was a drawdown from this guy to this guy. That was about 20%. We've got another swing high to swing low before reversal. This was about the same. So this was going to be 21%. And then we've got a nice swing high to swing low here. That was just in January. And we have swing high to swing low around 21.5%. Are we looking for another 20 to 22% correction? Yeah, it's possible. If we were to see that, you know, it would bring it, 21% here would bring it right around, right around the upper first, or where the upper first is likely to land later today at around $56,000, $56,500 or so. That's where the upper first, this weekly will land. Sorry, I misspoke there for a moment. But, this is not abnormal in an uptrend to see larger corrections of this scale. So, yeah, I actually do agree. This is not something that's, brand new. We've been observing these types of 20 to 22% corrections all the way through the entire bull run since the lows. And in this case, if Bitcoin, does breach below the upper second standard deviation on a close, or the alternate criteria would be that it actually has the upper second flow past price, it does make the upper first and the weekly a viable target. So do understand that when we're looking at Bollinger Band expansion, when either Bitcoin closes below the upper second rather, or the upper second expands past the current trading price, then that does make the upper first a viable target, as well as if it is remaining above the upper first, the upper second, upper third are still viable targets. And by that condition, we can also say that if it were to lose the upper first, then the basis is the next viable target. And you do want these areas to generally line up with prior support and resistance zones. So if we come over here, we can turn on the monthly, weekly support and resistance chart here. And we can see that right now, Bitcoin's weekly upper second standard deviation, when we zoom in here, is in the all-time high zone. So this is the prior all-time high zone from April of 2021 at 65K to that November of 2021 69K high. Now the weekly did actually close above it coming into this weekly candle, although it does look like it topped out right there. Right on it, it actually closed slightly above it at $69,032 here on Coinbase Spot. And Coinbase had directly hit $69,000 even in the prior cycle. So, if Bitcoin does lose this all-time high zone, the next area to pay attention to is the previous closing all-time high zone on the monthly. And that is October of 2021, coming in at 61,350, down to March of 2021, first monthly high, at 58.8. Now, that would be the most viable zone of liquidity to be looking in, at least initially, if Bitcoin does lose around 65K and the weekly upper second standard deviation. Now, if it did drop around 58.8 to around 58,000, then in general, I would be targeting around that weekly upper first standard deviation, which is coming in at roughly $56,000 even. So, this is likely to play out should those conditions be met, rather. But as long as Bitcoin is maintaining the weekly upper second standard deviation, and more specifically trading above $65,000 even, and even if it does drop that area, as long as it's trading above 58.8, the bottom side of the prior monthly closing high zone, then, I wouldn't be looking too far under there, to be quite honest, and that would be quite a gift if Bitcoin did give it. That's not financial advice. That is a personal view, and it is based in technical analysis for horizontal support and resistance. Now, if it did lose that area, the upper first on the weekly is going to be the likely target. So if Bitcoin does head down but not breach below any of these areas before the weekly close, we are going to see the upper first move up. Where is it likely to move up to? Well, at this pace, it's putting on about, let's see, it was about $53,000 prior to last week's close, and it moved up to almost $56,000, so it's at $55,800 currently. So we're looking at it accelerating around $2,500 to $3,000. So I would expect it to be somewhere around $58,000, whether it's $57,500, $58,000, or even around that monthly area of March of 2021 on the close there at 58.8. So I would expect it to head up and come in line with that monthly support zone. Should Bitcoin remain, where it is above the upper second or anywhere above this liquid zone which is going to be 58.8 to 61.350, then I would expect that upper first to continue moving up at around a $2,500 to $3,000 pace. So now, why am I not more aggressive with that in terms of it moving up? Well, simply, I don't know. We can't really project it too well because it is based on the 20 simple. There are projections for the 20 simple. They're not always accurate on some indicators. So I would say, the 20 simple or the basis likely to head up above the August of 2022 monthly close there at $47,000, and likely to be somewhere in between that monthly at 47 and this $50,000 weekly support area where we have 50,800 to 51.8. That was that pit stop with the swing high there at $53,000. So I would expect the basis at the end of this weekly close into next week's open to move up somewhere in this middle zone. And then, this upper first head towards that monthly closing zone. So I'm not necessarily looking for the, $55,800 to $56,000. You can kind of give it some room. I would say 55, 56 area to 56.5 or so. That is a target that is being floated out there for many who have a robust technical analysis background. And it is a viable target. That is what Bitcoin has been doing, but it's also conditional. So Bitcoin has to break down at minimum from 55.8 in order to go hit those targets. And it's still trading on the top side of the all-time high zone right now, currently coming in at a trading price of 68,360 or so as it fluctuates right now. And, the daily high is finally in, so we can get some projections now. We were talking about this in the prior live stream and the prior recorded video as well. Excuse me as I move my microphone, it's going to creak a little bit. When looking at the daily, we can now, see that there is likely to be a closing high. There's definitely a swing high, so we can actually project from the current structure possible future targets. And that is still going to be conditional coming into today's close. If it closes anywhere below the open from the 11th, that was Monday the 11th, that was this Monday, then I would say, anywhere below $69,000 at that open, if it does close below there, that's a closing high with a swing high put in. And we can measure this structure. So from the accumulation that occurred at around that 50,800 weekly to 53K swing high on the weekly, we can now measure top side, all-time high, back to this low side swing and get some areas of confluence on fib extensions, as well as some likely targets to the downside here, some areas of interest on this particular pullback. Bitcoin already settling in on one here at the 786 at $68,074. It's already reached for the daily basis band here, which is coming in at $65,000. And recall that this is one of the prior zones of interest. So $65,000 was the March of 2021 swing high. And that is going to be a big area of interest if it does actually tag that zone directly, right on 65K. And you can see that it can even come down a bit more here to 63,868 at the 618. You can see that this lines up with our order block candle here that we were talking about in the prior live stream. So this is coming in at 6,300 even. And this was right around the highs of this shorter term consolidation here on the daily between that prior monthly closing zone at 58.8 to 61,350. So in this case, as long as Bitcoin is trading above the 618 and especially above the 50%, where you can see the lower first is now starting to rise up towards and will likely head right in there to the 50% region at 61K. we can see that those are big areas of interest between the 618, basically the 50% and the 382. If Bitcoin were to lose the basis band of the Bollinger Bands here and begin to head down towards that lower first. So as it rises, it's going to line up a little bit more clearly with that 50%, I suspect, at the close of today's daily candle. Now we can also see that the lower second down here is above the prior consolidation at $53,000, with that low side coming in at around 50,800 to 500 or so on the wick. Now, as long as Bitcoin is above that consolidation, this is very, very bullish for more immediate upside in this particular move. Now, it would take a little while if it did head down that way, but I do suspect that it would go into a little bit more sideways consolidation and then try up. If it did happen to go retest that area, specifically, I would want to see it hold around that high at $53,000. It was an important weekly that was keeping price down, so a retest there would not be out of the question by the lower second. And coming off of a compression in the Bollinger Bands, where you see a little bit of a squeeze here to re-expansion, heading back down and tagging the lower second is typically a very good counter trade opportunity. Of course, not financial advice. You need to check out price live if it were to head down that way. And currently it's holding up very well. So trading above the open and close here, coming in at 68,356 is going to be preferable. And until we see that area break down, I wouldn't really be looking for another run to the basis band area around that monthly zone bottom side at 65K for the all-time high zone. Now you can see the way that these fibs line up with that monthly and weekly support. Let's go ahead and get rid of the Bollinger Bands real quick here and just go ahead and point out some of the ways in which the Fibonacci levels line up with our monthlies. So we do see that the 786 here is right around this zone on the top side of the prior all-time high zone here at 68K to 69K. And then on the bottom side here, we've got the $65,000 April of 2021. It was March into April was the swing. March kept pushing, April put in the high, and then dump off. So I did misspeak a little bit there. The close in March was down here at 50,800. But in this case, between that $65,000 and the 618 there coming in the low 63, or I'm sorry, the high $63,000 area at $63,800 and $68. That is an area of interest. Of course, again, I want to point out that that's a big old order block there. Now, if that area was lost, you can see that the 50% is right at that top side of the weekly, right around that 61,350 area. And then the 382 is right on the bottom side there, coming in at just around $58,000 to 58,800. So that would be my my levels to watch if there is going to be further downside. So let's go ahead and investigate some of the lower term timeframes here and see how they relate to our support and resistance levels and the Bollinger Bands here. So let's go ahead down to something like a 4 hour. We can see that the 4 hour did get expansion down into the all-time high zone. We can also see that, we did get that reach for the mid $65,000 area. And what I like to see on this, we do see BBWP expansion continuing. And as long as Bitcoin is trading below the prior all-time high at 69K, which is also the lower first standard deviation of the Bollinger Bands here on the 4 hour, then I wouldn't be looking for a retest of the highs immediately. So because we are still in an expansive posture, and any closes below the lower first will continue that pressure down in terms of volatility. And I do suspect momentum as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at momentum real quick. Yes, so we do have an initial cross back to the upside, but if you look here, you can see the momentum pivot is actually $69,000. It's slightly under. It's $40 under there. It's 68,960. But in the next close, the next 4-hour close, we are going to see this cross immediately back down. This is where I do tell you guys and gals, if you are going to be using a regular stoke, you want a completed cross. You don't want to just take the first cross when using this particular indicator. An initial cross can easily cross right back down. You want to see it get follow through. So in the next 4-hour closure, if Bitcoin can regain around $69,000, we will see a completed momentum shift on the stoke. And this is a regular stoke, so this is measuring close over close price action, not a stoke RSI. Stoke RSI measures the velocity of the RSI, or the speed at which it is moving. So in this case, this is measuring close over close price, and you can see that we do have slightly higher high closes in comparison to the bottom close down here at 67,691. But it still needs to get above that lower first, complete the cross, and then we can start targeting somewhere around the basis, which is the bottom side closes on the 4-hour here, around 71.5. Above there, we can start targeting around the top side of those closes, which is at around $72,000 to the upper first, which is right in line with the closes on the all-time high area up there, coming in at $73,200 to $73,000. If Bitcoin were to recover above there, it's going to, push on past the all-time high, in my opinion, and or at least retest it, and would give it the ability to try up to around that 75,200 area up there, which is one of our main overhead targets, around $75,000. So this fits pretty well with what we have been talking about for quite a long time now. If Bitcoin were to begin expansion above $75,000, that's where we can start to look at the daily again, and we can see that the upper second standard deviation is right there at 76 even, 568. Dyslexia even kicking in, along with my clear issues with the English language. But in this case, we can see that, I would be looking in the strong half of the 70s, basically above 75, looking to 76, 76 and a half, maybe even 77. We could potentially see all the way up to the upper third. I would be looking at that area, because we are starting to see compression on the daily, as being more of a viable target around $80,000. And possibly a push into the low 80s to try for around 82,000, but that's very conditional. That's going to be only borne upon if we can observe price action closing above the 4-hour upper second standard deviation. I'll be quite honest, if Bitcoin can hold this all-time high zone around 65 to 69, I would be looking for a cross back to the upside on Stoke, and I'd be looking for it to attempt, at minimum, a run of its current all-time high in the $74,500 region, and maybe try for 75. But then if it can get above 75 and close specifically at minimum a 4 and 6 hour, and preferably a 12-hour that leads into the daily, that's where I would be looking for, deeper $70,000 to $80,000 area, maybe even the low $80,000 area. Other than that, it is pressured down. We can see across all the medium-term timeframes below the daily, still right now in a position to keep their downside momentum. 6-hour is currently pivoted at 70,542. So if it starts to close back above there, we're going to see a momentum shift. The 8-hour is pivoted at 73,140. So again, it's got to push towards that upper first, upper second zone on the 4-hour, and we start seeing closes up there. Then look to the 8-hour as an area of interest for a momentum shift. Looking at the 12-hour, we can see that is pivoted at $73,000 even. So again, around $73,000, we start seeing closes back above there. Keep an eye on the 6, 8, 12-hour and then we can look right back to the daily. So that is the basis of what I'm going to be looking for. One of the other things that I wanted to point out here is the 12-hour, and I kind of wanted to focus on this. It's one of my favorite time frames to look at as a leading indicator heading into daily closes. Just like what we saw back here with the compression at the weeklies around that December 21 to August 21 weekly close area. And of course, that swing high at 53K from September of 2021. So we had the August close, September pushed up, and then it dumped off a bit back in 2021. But in this case, you know, we saw the beautiful compression. We saw the sideways price action right in that zone of support. Tagged the lower second, held up, tagged the lower first, and then got expansion through the overhead resistance, along with getting closes above the upper second, upper third to kick off expansion on the 12-hour. So one of my favorite leading indicators for swing positions heading into daily closes could be starting to set up. It's not there yet, in my opinion, so I kind of feel like this would be a little bit of a range play for a little while. You can see the lower seconds coming in right around that April 2021 $65,000 all-time high prior to the actual all-time high put in 2021 at 69K, where we can see the basis skating right along the top side there at around 69,600. So if Bitcoin can trade above the basis again, then we do have a viable target at the upper first standard deviation for upside here, and that's coming in at around $72,000. So again, eyes on that area. If the 4-hour, 6-hour start to push on through the $69,000 area, and above there, the upper seconds right around the highs there, that's where we have 74,181, and the upper third is coming in at 76,500. So kind of lining up with what I'd be looking for on the daily's upper second is where the 12-hour upper third is. And the only way I'd be looking for that to be a sustainable move to get into the deeper $70,000 area would be if we saw a 12-hour close above there. I do think it would probably get initial rejections in the lower term time frame, so keep an eye on that because we are seeing a little bit of compression on the 12-hour here. And the same goes for the downside here. Anything below the lower second, and I'm looking to where the lower third is. So anything below around 65,000, 65.5 on a close for the 12-hour, I'd be looking for around that $63,000 zone to the closes on the monthlies down here for the all-time high zone on a close at 61,350 to 58.8 again. So you can kind of see how these things line up and have confluence with each other. And this is, this is probably my favorite setup in all of the time frames. And I use the 12-hour and then I dive deep into those 4 hours. So just as I explained with the 4-hour, 6-hour, as it would relate to evaluating where they close and then how that fits into the 8 and 12-hour, that's what I would want you to do as well if you're trying to emulate this particular type of technical analysis, which is in reality, it's trend, support and resistance, and volatility with a heavy focus on the volatility levels of the Bollinger Bands. And in this case, we can see that the 12-hour still very highly volatile. So BBWP is pretty elevated here at 62, under 66 for the moving average. So on any closes back above the basis and back above the upper first on the 12-hour. So again, that would be somewhere around 69,500 to 72. I would want to see BBWP above the moving average and the moving average get a positive slope for sustainability of the price volatility as it relates to the bands. And that's all going to be borne upon watching this. Well, it's pushing up above 69K right now. That would all be borne upon watching this 12 hours as it relates to the 4-hour, I should say. And we do, again, need to see a 12-hour close above the lower first standard deviation that can turn Stoke completely back to the upside. Now, this would be at first glance a mean reversion play when you're looking at BBWP, but it can hit, because it is high volatility, it can hit the upper first and upper second. If it starts to close up there, it can maintain its high volatility and then just rip right through those levels to the upside. So that would be what's termed as running the bands from one side to the other. And typically what I like to see for resistance is if it came up here to like 73.5 and then dump back down to wherever the 4-hour lower second is, that would be your expansion to retest play on the bands, which is also one of my favorite setups. I take that setup on the lower term timeframes a lot. So that would be like, you get your expansion down, and then let's say this pushes up to the basis upper first zone and then comes back down and retests. And then look, you've got a meme pattern. You've got a head and shoulders pattern. We're all about the memes today. We didn't see too many 69s though. Now, one of the memes that's often been pointed out by one in the chat here, whom we all love very much, and that is Torque. He's 21% pullback, 420% pump. I would love to see it. I would love to see it. But you can still get your meme numbers for a retest of 69K and then a 420%. So that would also be a meme. But just to humor this a little bit, let's say that Bitcoin did complete a 21% pullback, and we are really meme marketing right now. And not only would it be hilarious to come down and flush all people out at the upper first standard deviation of the weekly Bollinger Bands, which that's a freaking gift. If it gets down there, not financial advice, but that's a freaking gift before the halving, okay? But, what would 420% look like on top of that type of a pullback? Man, that would be, let's go ahead and see if we can line this up. 420% is like crazy. That's like one of our deeper targets, but I bet you I think it lines up with one of our Bollinger Bands on the longer term, or fib levels on the longer term time frames. So let's go to 420. We're just going to do the meme, and we're going to try to get it as close as possible. Yeah, so we're looking around $300,000. And if I remember correctly, there is a fib that lines up here. So let's go ahead and go through some of the fibs and see where we would get things like, oh God, I just messed it all up. Look at me, just goofing it all up. Let's try that again. All right, so let's say it did hit around that area, and then we got 420%. Go real meme magic markets here. Yeah, well, just, that's fine. 421%. Who cares? Let's go ahead and pull this out a bit here, and let's do something more fun, because we have more fibs that we can reference that some of you might remember quite well. And this was from the swing low of the bear market, where we had, yes, this was a downtrend on the weekly here. As you can see, clear downtrend to failure at that swing high and then dump off. But everybody keeps calling it a black swan when it wasn't. It was very clear what was happening. But we can pull a fib, and this particular fib can come from the bull cycle, either at the bottom here to the top, or from the initial swings as well. So we can pull from the all-time high to the most recent major low off of the bear market lows there. And nope, we don't get anything. We can take the full run, and nope, just above the 414 at $250,000. So not seeing anything line up there. We can also take and pull the bear market, and we can see what lines up. Oh, it's the 2-spot extension right between the 1888 and the 2-spot extension. So that's where we were getting probably around $300,000. Sure. Is it possible? Absolutely. That would definitely meet the criteria of a blow off top as well. More likely than not, I would be looking somewhere around the 1618, which is around 173. But I'd be open to taking this one target at a time. We can also get our fib extensions off of this current move. So let's go ahead and look at the extensions, because I looked at pullbacks. Let's look at extensions. We'll do this for the daily. This is a little bit more of a speculative play, but you can see that from swing high to swing low, we've got the 1272 at 81,866, the 1414 at 86,400, and the 1618 at 93,357. Above there, the 1786 coming in at right around 99,500 to the 1888 at 103. 103,434 to the 2 spot at 107. We've got 272 at 120, 2414 at 126, 2618 at 136. Now, the reason why I want to bring this up on the daily chart is because this does have confluence with another fib pull on the weekly, and that's our fib pull from the prior move, because we don't have a weekly closing high yet. We can take and kind of really get goofy with the charts here. We'll just remember basically 100,000 to 130 and you're good there. But we can get rid of that fib, and we can see that Bitcoin's 1414 is at $65,000, which of course is the all-time high zone. We've got the 1272, which was nearly struck perfectly there from the prior weekly swing high and closing high to closing lows. The 1618 is just overhead at 74,700, so basically that's our $75,000 area. We have the 1786 at 83,732, 1888 at just around 90K. We've got the 2 spot at 96. We've got the 272 at 116, 2414 at 128. So there's your 130 area. And roughly speaking, more fun with fibs here for just a moment here on the weekly. When you pull that bear market again, we'll just reference the bear market fib real quick here for extensions. And you can see that the 1272 from that is at 103. The 1414 is at 128. So can you guess where I'm looking? Looking at about 100,000 to 130,000. And then we see what happens. Can it push through those areas? Absolutely. I pointed this out on the longer term time frames. But the monthly is looking great. Closes above the upper third. Once it's closed above there, it usually continues to close above the upper third. Upper third is around $72,000 right now. It is trading below there, but over the course of the back half of March here, as we are in mid-March, we generally would be looking for this to more than likely close above the upper third. Now, if for any reason Bitcoin loses that monthly zone, and let's just go ahead and throw on support and resistance here, and we'll zoom in a bit here. So if you look at this monthly zone, the upper second standard deviation on the monthly is coming in right at the bottom side of that monthly closing all-time high zone. That's this close from April of 21, the close open there, and then the close open from October to November of 2021 as well. So that's your 58.8 to 61.350. If that area is lost on a monthly closing time frame, then wherever the upper first standard deviation is the next big monthly zone of interest. Doesn't mean it's going to get there, but that is a big zone of interest. So any closes below the upper second here, which is coming in just below the monthly March of 2021 close there at 58.8. This is coming in at 58,500, which just so happens to be the last consolidation low on the daily. So if that area was dropped, then we start looking at support and resistance, that $53,000 breakout area to the weekly below at 51.8 to 50,800. But the upper first is all the way down here, just skating along the bottom side currently of this monthly zone here from August of 2022 to March of 2022 at 45.5 to 47. That would be a hellacious sell-off and not a meme. If it did happen like that, that is also, once again, not unexpected. Bitcoin typically likes to run that upper first standard deviation on the monthly time frame in bull runs, and it would still be very, very bullish even if it did tag that area or wick through it. That's not my first take on what's happening with price action. As I've said, when Bitcoin closes above the monthly upper third, it typically continues in and around that upper third and continues to use the upper second as its basing point initially, with wicks as this really gets rolling, with wicks then coming in down to that upper first. I don't think it's in a position to do that currently, but that could change coming into the close of the month. We'll see how the rest of this week goes into next week and then kind of gauge it. So that is that's going to be the bulk of my market analysis for Bitcoin today. There's not too much crazy going on here. I know people are kind of getting antsy about what's going on with price, but realistically, there's nothing too crazy going on here. A correction was needed. We are getting that. If the 4 hour starts to turn, man, we're in blue sky territory still. It's already pushing up to 70,200. So, if it starts to regain the highs, it's going to go for the highs and higher again. And we're just looking for a much larger correction, probably later and very quick. This is relatively, so far, has been a quick correction. We're looking at the possibility of a low being put in here. The wick lows on volume have been regained. If it can close above those areas, when looking at volume, it's looking damn good to keep continuing. So we had this higher volume area is being tested right now with this candle into the highs. We have this higher volume wick low that has been passed, and then now it was rejected, but now pushing through in this current 4 hour candle. These highs over here have been pushed through so far. We just need to see closes, even the wicks at around $70,000 there. This next wick here at 70,200, it's testing that area currently. The wick over here looks great. We got the higher volume areas on the high here. That was this high volume area here. Also price trading back above it. So, I disagree with the people who are projecting those larger scale corrections right now until we see the conditions that I laid out met. If we see $65,000 dropped on a close, especially a daily that leads into a 2-day, 3-day, so on and so forth, then yeah, it's probable, more probable than not. Currently, above $65,000, it is not probable because it has not met the condition of breaking down from that area. If it does, then we start entertaining a wider correction. Excuse me, I had a jacket on because I was outside. It's fairly cold here in the desert. So give me just a moment here. All right. So I'm going to open it up to you guys real quick here. We're going to turn on the tunes just for a moment so I can look through the chats real quick here. And if you had a coin, a cryptocurrency, an altcoin, otherwise known as an S coin, please go ahead and drop it in the chat and I will take a look at it. Please, one only. So prioritize which one you want me to take a look at, please. And let's go ahead and get the tunes on so we can cover for me and the silence here while I read through some of this stuff. All right, so we're going to do that. All right. Let's go ahead and look at the chats real quick. Hello, No Name. Hello, Bobby. Hello, Sam. Hello, Baba. Hello, Ivan. How you guys doing? Good to see you. Yeah, go ahead and hit the likes and the subs or whatever. All the social media stuff. Go ahead and do that. Yeah, that'd be great. I appreciate that. Yeah, so if you do have a coin or something that you wanted me to take a look at, let me know. Drop it in chat. Let me go over here and see if we've got quite a lot. I'm getting a lot of people in the X stream, and I'm not. Well, today, no, I guess not as many today. There was like 30 or 40 in there last stream. I am kind of like streaming at odd times lately, and I do apologize about that. It's going to be more normalized as things kind of settle down in my personal life here. But yeah, I don't see anybody chatting in there, just watching. Okay. We'll look at Doge. So let's go ahead and look at Doge. Binance. Let's do a spot chart on Doge. Let's do Coinbase. All right, so it's in a consolidation on the highs. I don't see a problem with this right now. It's doing like what Bitcoin did. Got expansion, wick down towards the basis, didn't quite hit it. You know, if it can close anywhere above the higher volume close open and then wick highs, it's going to be continuation to the upside. So we're looking at back above 18.2425 cents. We're looking at this heading back to a minimum test around 19.3 cents and around 20 cents, maybe 21 by the daily upper second standard deviation. If it can get above there, then I'd be looking for, medium term continuation to some of its prior areas of resistance on the weekly at minimum. And that would be, it already hit this weekly here at around 20 cents. It is trading in the wicks of the week prior to that, back from July of 2021 at around 18 cents. So it's got to regain this low in a close around 18.2 to actually, have a chance to go and test 20 again. If it can get above there, that's where we can start entertaining a possibility into around 25 to 30 cents up here by this high on the weekly. In terms of pullbacks, as long as it's trading closing candles above 10 to 12 cents, it's looking pretty good. Yeah, it says 12 cents up here. No, it's actually a little bit lower. It's 11.9. It's almost 12 cents. Excuse me. So as long as it's trading closing daily candles above here, around 10 to 12 cents, it's looking good. And would be very strong from the weekly perspective. So I'd be monitoring that on the daily. And then for continuation, back above 21 cents, and I'd be looking around 25 to 30 cents. So pretty easy. It's maxed out its BBWP on the weekly, but it's got the moving average chasing by a lot, 45%. So this is very strong. And this is likely a temporary pullback on the daily. So daily is in cool down, but because the weekly is so strong, even back above 18.5 cents, this thing turns back up on momentum and looks very good. So see if the monthly have anything interesting on it. Yeah, 12.7 cents in the monthly, and really above the wick high at 15.5, 16 cents. It's fine. It's getting expansion. Its pivots all the way down at 7.25 cents. So yeah, this is in bull mode. But be aware of the fairly violent pullbacks if you are trading within this range. Anywhere below the daily basis band, looking down to the lower first, which is at that 12 cent area. Below there, keep an eye on 10 cents. If it starts to fail there, lower second is currently coming in at 8 cents. You don't want to see it back below 10 cents. So it's going to be a long wait for it to get back to this current high. Then, relatively speaking, we're talking about the daily. It's also highly volatile on longer term time frames. So when I say long wait, it could be like a week or two of consolidation or something like that to get that daily back under control. It's consolidating within its local highs though, so it's fine. And as long as it's remaining above this order block candle right here for the range at around 15 cents, it's looking good. And that was tested in today's current candle. So we have any others? I know that Sam, did you have another one you wanted me to look at? I looked at Injective for you. You'll have to let me know. I'm getting a lot of because I think quite a few people are jumping into the stream because they are following me from some of the ordinals communities. There's not really a clear way to do TA on ordinals right now. They're not charted in TradingView. There are some platforms that do offer charts for them, but most of the ordinals that you're going to want me to look at don't have a long enough history to really for the chart to really have any value. The whole space is trending down in terms of volume and volatility, so it's in a consolidation period. So I wouldn't be worried about it. I'm not. If you got disposable degenerate income that you'd like to throw at some projects that you like, I would say now is probably a very good time. I know the OMB stuff is going on, and their mints are being listed, and it's pulling their floor down by it was at 1.7 Bitcoin last week, but they got pulled all the way down to less than half a Bitcoin now with some of the new mints. So it'll work its way back up. I'm not worried about any of that stuff, to be honest. As long as the project's got good devs and they're active, it's going to be fine. But yeah, there's no way to really do TA on it. Maybe on some of the longer term ordinals, that have been around since last year, but there's not a good charting solution for it right now. There will be. There's a few out there, but I don't really not enamored with the way that they're populating volume and other things like that. So, because it's not, in my opinion, as accurate as it needs to be right now. But yes, at some point it will be chartable. Okay. Well, if there's no more, if you guys don't want any other meme coins, the ones that you were suggesting in chat last stream, I'm going to go ahead and get the music back under control, and we're going to move on to take a look at a few other things here. And that is going to be Bitcoin dominance. So let's go ahead and get the music back under control here. So let's go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin dominance, and then we'll move on and glance at gold, Dixie, and traditional markets real quick. So Bitcoin dominance at 53%. 53.54. Oh, Bobby chiming in at the last moment with XRP. I already made fun of the XRP Bitcoin chart last stream. Maybe I'll go take a look at its USD chart. I do believe it's in a strong position right now versus USD. So less so against Bitcoin. Now, we did see Bitcoin dominance top out around 55%. The next big breakout's going to occur above there, and we're probably looking... We're probably looking for... let's go ahead and do a trend fib on this and just see what a viable trending area would look like here. So above 55, we're looking between 56.65 and 57. 618's at 57. There is that prior level at 58. So basically 58 to the 2 spot at 60 would be the next area. So basically above 55, we're looking for it to creep its way towards 56.5 to 57. Above there, we're looking 58 to 60. And, that is going to be a drain on coins paired against Bitcoin. They will likely pump versus the US dollar, though. I mean, the US dollar is the ultimate shit coin. So Bobby says even gold outperformed XRP over the last 5 to 6 years. I think it's the last 2 to 3 years, but yeah, I mean, you're close. And yes, everyone in XRP should just be following Peter Schiff at this point, right? Myself included. I have a big bag of XRP. Now it's up quite a lot, but not where it should be according to the XRP army, who's looking at $2,000 a coin, which is bonkers. They're lucky. They'll be lucky at this rate if it hits like $2 to $5. But anyway, that's we'll go look at it. Let's go ahead and move on to gold here. Gold looking good. Still holding above its upper first on the daily here. As long as it's closing above here and or just around it at around 2150, 2160 area, that would preserve its chance to head up. If it can get above the highs here at 2195, we would be looking to the upper second. Somewhere around 2200 to 2250 or so. I would be bracketing this upper second. It's quite volatile right now. And, it's looking good. I'm going to tell you on the weekly, I do think this is just getting rolling for gold. We see the nice consolidation right below the highs there at that 20,070 to 2,080 bucks. Now the breakout above it, and its upper second being right there at the prior high at 2146. This is just kind of getting rolling. BBWP expansion. You can see the pinch in the Bollinger Bands after the consolidation. So we have compression to re-expansion to the upside in this case. Could there be something crazy that happens and it runs the bands back to the downside? Sure, but highly unlikely. It would have to break down below the basis at 2,034 bucks and then take out basically 1990 at the lower first to even run the lower second zone down there. That'd be a pretty nasty move, but that is not what I'm seeing. This everything it's telling me, and that I'm relaying to you rather, is that this is continuation to the upside. 2,081 bucks is the pivot right now. It is trading for gold substantially above there, and we have seen gold move quite fast recently. So this kind of a pullback on the weekly and daily time frames into a consolidation. Perfectly normal as long as it's trading above around 2,100 to 2,080 bucks. It's continuation to the upside. First big target past here that it still has yet to hit is that 2,200, and then we're looking 2,250, 2,300 to 400, and then 2,500 bucks pretty shortly thereafter, I think. When looking at Dixie, we can see Dixie has put in a low on the daily. It did not come down and hit the main support area down there at 101 to 101.77 to 102 basically. But this is still in a bearish downtrend. So This is mean reversion back to the basis. And, you know, it's bearish below 104.5. This last high, basically 104.30. Actually, it's a little bit lower to be fair. Typically, when we see bounce backs in a downtrend like this, and the upper first is below the most recent lower high, it's going to end up with a bearish outcome. Typically, it's not always the case. Could it reverse? Sure. It could even hit that area, come back down, you know, higher low its way out, or even equal lows or lower lows on divergence, and then try back up. But right now, you know, anything below 104 at the moment is still quite bearish. If we start seeing it push above 104 to 104.5, then, you know, it's got a bit of a turnaround in the cards, maybe. The Stoke pivot is 102.60. And, you know, so it can pull back to the lower first at 103, and even the lower second, which is at 102.60. As long as it doesn't close below there, momentum will continue to the upside. But, you know, if it puts in a high on the daily here, swing high, then we start looking for closing highs thereafter. And the possibility that if it doesn't consolidate, it heads down to 102, mid to upper 101s. I think the weekly is still pointed down. Yeah, weekly is going to be pressured down. It is in a compression right now as well. So I do think its upside is a bit limited at the moment, as is its downside until we see closures back above 105.50 or below 101.36 in this case. Now, any weekly closures below 103.23, which it is looking to try and regain this week around the basis. If it does close below it, though, we are going to see a momentum shift on the weekly. What's the monthly looking like? The monthly's actually not bad. It's not in a terrible position. That was a lower first run. We are starting to see the bands on the monthly equalize, though. And this is where, from the longer term timeframes like the monthly, we've got the upper second there at 110 to the downside at 98.78, almost $99. Look, until we see a close on a monthly above 110, you know, it's in a consolidation. If we see a close below the lower second, we're not looking for distribution until we see a close below the lower second, I should say. And that would create an expansion on the monthly time frame. And right now, it is in a consolidation. So I would expect this to continue a bit more for Dixie. All right. Let's go ahead and glance at traditional markets real quick here. Dow consolidation at the highs. Looks fine from this perspective. If it does start closing below the lower second and losing its local lows at around 38,400 to 38.5, then we have to look for expansion, likely down into 38K. Below there, there is some highs in the daily around 37.7, but we're looking at a new zone of interest between 37.7, almost 37.8 to around 37,000 by the prior all-time high there at 37,000. So slightly under 37,000, 36,952. So that would still just be in retest zone or in retest area, and likely would get a very strong bounce. It's just consolidating, no big deal, until we see something like 38 dropped. We're seeing the same on NASDAQ. So 18,250 for the pivot. We see the range, the local range is looking like it might be lost today. It's like right on it at 17,845. If it does lose it and start closing below the lower first at 17,750, to 17,760. Then I would mark that down to around 17,500 by the lower second. And if it does drop this low at 17,320, we have to pay close attention to this area between this low here at 17,150 to the gap area at the high there at around 17,000 to 16,950, 960 or so. Right by, again, its prior all-time high, which is coming in at 16,764. So other than that, it looks fine. It's just a consolidation on the highs. SPY, looking at the same thing. To be fair, it's holding its local zone much better than the others at the moment, or at least much better than NASDAQ at the moment. 515 is the pivot. So back above the upper first, and then we're looking for it to go make new highs. 520, 525 on the board there. If it does lose its local zone, lower first is coming in right around this high side area and the gap at 500. Below there, we're starting to look at the lower second to the lower third, which is coming in at 497 to 491. If that area is lost, got to pay attention to 482 to 480, which is the prior all-time high. So other than that, looks good. No problems with any of this. Yeah, that's pretty much a wrap for most of the technical analysis. Let me go ahead and throw music back on. We'll jump in the chats. We'll go to the 15-minute here. Nice little pop-up on expansion. If it's going to be bearish, it'll run right back to the other side by 67. But as long as it's holding around 68,500 at the basis and this consolidation on the lows, it's looking good. Let's go ahead and turn on some tunes, and we will check the chats again here. All right, so we've got Bobby. Waiting for Peter Schiff, yeah. USDT dominance is the one I actually would love for you to look at. Sure. Yeah, I can look at that in just a moment. Let me go check some of the other chats here. Okay. It doesn't look like too many others are chatting in this chat over here. Got some people in Twitch, but they're not saying much. All right, so you want to see USDT. We can go ahead and look at USDT. This is trending down quite heavily. So let's look. It is just bottomed on the daily here. Excuse me. Let me move my microphone real quick. 3.85 is going to turn this or continue its turn back to the top side here. Weekly is probably more important. It's also in a bit of a bottoming area, but we're likely to see this bearishly reset over and over again. Below 453, it will remain down for pressure. We saw it lose its 5.5 level that was on the run up. That was this consolidation, and then this has been the all-time high run for Bitcoin. If it were to drop around 3.73%, and to be fair, it's bearishly reclaiming all these highs over here. Let's go ahead and expand this a little bit. All right, so yeah, we're probably quickly looking at below 3.73. We're probably looking at this coming down to 3.5 to 2.5. But honestly, would it probably be more logical for it to hang out there? Probably. Is it close to getting a daily reversal? No. Back above 4.72, it has a chance for about 5 to 5.22. Other than that, it's a strong downtrend. But yeah, They would have to regain and get re-expansion back to the top side. I'm not seeing that happen, at least currently from the way this is positioned. So to even get back to sustainably close back above 4.88 to this last high there at around 525. It might, you know, if Bitcoin continues down, alts continue down, it might spike those areas, but I'd be looking for failures around there all the way to 5.63, the red line here. So looks like garbage, but it should at this particular point in the cycle. Yeah, so that number is around 68,700 or so. As long as it's holding the upper first, it's looking fine. Could it run the other side, the other way? Absolutely. Let's look at the hourly. Yeah, basis, it's around 68.5, 68.6. As long as it's holding that area, it's looking good. To try up further, if it does lose that area, pay attention to around 67.5 to 67,250. Below there, then it's going to run the lows there. Maybe even go for a bottom side test at 65 to 65.5 again. And then just watch. If it closes below there, then we're looking for a little bit of a markdown to the lower first area. Look into that monthly zone, 61,350 to 58.8. Possibly that meme correction down to 56. So that would fulfill the 21%. I heard what Jack Horsey is doing. Well, Jack Dorsey is into Bitcoin and part of the mining pool initiative. He's part of Filter Crew over there, I believe. But not much more. Probably working on L2s. Now, Jack Horsey, I don't know who that is, but somebody should probably find out what he's up to. Probably no good. Just horsing around. Do I think that some of these deeper targets are realistic? No, not really. Not right now. Yeah, I don't care what he's doing with his wallet stuff, to be honest, buddy. He can do whatever he likes. Great. Want to see more people working in the Bitcoin space. But yeah, I run my own node, so, well, nodes, plural. And I have hardware wallets already. I'm not looking to get involved in anything new. And, you know, I'm sure he's doing something interesting, probably something open source, so good for him. Yeah, 250 and above. Is it possible for Bitcoin? Absolutely. But not my first take. We're going to take it one step at a time. That's how we can accurately get these price levels for our trades. If we were just going to say like moon, or doom. No, Isaac, I mean, if you're interested in it, you should follow it. If you're interested in the project that he's got going, it's an open source wallet, keep tabs on it. I'm not interested because I'm a node operator, and I already have everything that I need. It's all open source stuff, so I just don't have a need for any of it. What I would hope that Mr. Dorsey is doing is finding solutions for utilization of Bitcoin at retail, like he has explained that he wanted to do. So that'd be great. But that's going to be more than a wallet. That's going to be an L2 solution. So if it's a wallet that supports whatever type of solution he'd like to integrate, awesome. But I run Bitcoin Core, so it's going to automatically support any of that stuff anyway. So he's got to work within the consensus structure of the network. So yeah. So 250, 300 off the board for you. No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that it is a possibility, but I'm going to take it one step at a time, just like we do with everything. That's why my price levels that and the group's price levels that we look for have been so accurate, in some cases nearly to the penny, because we're focused in one move at a time and defining criteria. So if price meets criteria, we then move up the areas of interest that we're looking for, or down, depending on if it meets downside price criteria. The longer term view, we'll be talking about when Bitcoin's getting close to a macro top. We're going to be talking all about it, so you will definitely know. But I'm not interested in speculation. There's people who are very good at it and very accurate, as long as they're giving you invalidations, or what the invalidations would be in order to meet those levels. Then we can entertain their analysis. There's really good people out there that do a very good job of that. I could do that. That's not how I trade. That's not how I set up my charts. So I mean, if you're looking to me to call for crazy all-time highs that are like, looking into $1 million territory or something, you're not going to get that here. Eventually, Bitcoin will get there. Probably faster than most think, to be quite honest, but one step at a time. Still got to get above 75, and then it's still got to hit some of those deeper 75 to low $80,000 targets that we have to the upside, provided it maintains the zone that it's in at $65,000. Other than that, if it meets the condition of closing below there, then we look down to 63, 61,350, 58,8, 56 to 57. Below there, the 50,000 to 51.8 area. Below there, 47 to 45.5, so on and so forth. One step at a time. And right now, it's not close to any of those downside targets. It's still on the top side, so looking just fine right now. So if anyone is trying to sell you on future targets that are not really based on what we're seeing right now in the charts that far out, it's usually a suspect. There's guys that do wave counts that are very good and that offer invalidations. Credible Crypto is one of the best in the biz. If you're on X, the Pizzino brothers, some of the best around. Crown, also up there. MDX, up there. You guys have heard this already before. There's a few others as well that are very, very, very good. But just know that when projecting that far out and price that far away, there is going to be a larger margin of error. And then, if they're good, which the people that I just said are, they will refine as price gets to those levels. So my macro thesis is Bitcoin will go up forever against the US dollar and any other fiat currency. That's my macro outlook by Bitcoin. Not financial advice. Life advice. Buy Bitcoin. Thank me later. Yeah. I agree. Now, if you're just tuning in, the first portion of the stream was all about Bitcoin price action and technical analysis. We're in the back half now where we're just BSing. Yep. You're probably not the... I'm probably not the guy you want to go to for ordinal project information. I get my alpha from other people that are far more into the space than I am. There's really good people in the NBO server and my server, obviously. Bobby and Torque are freaking monsters when it comes to that. They're awesome at it. Identifying stuff and seeing what's coming up and what might pop, that kind of stuff, and just the intricacies of the space. They're very, very, very knowledgeable. Also, Loki is in there. He's also the founder of NBO over there. Just a all-around awesome dude, solid guy. You know, that's where, you know, I would start looking in that space if you are interested in ordinals. And you know, they do a great job of identifying what's cool. Yep. I'm certainly not the person to be looking to for quote unquote alpha. I can explain how things work in the space and stuff like that, but if you're looking for specifics, no, I'm not the guy. Like specific projects that are cool or hot or upcoming, I'm not the guy. No. I'm a trader. All that stuff is degen. That's my degen play this cycle. And, you know, also there's some really good artists producing really awesome stuff. NBO and Viola Miscode, and there's a handful of others as well, just doing really cool stuff. Torque and Bobby, like the OTO stuff, it's awesome. But that's, you know, if you're buying that, you're not looking for a trade. You're buying it. Many people go and they buy stuff like that at higher prices, thinking like this is going to be a trade, but realistically, the people who are in it, in those areas, are buying to hold it because they like the art, they like the project, and it's monetary transactions on Bitcoin. Yep, that is that's Bitcoin's future, is monetary transactions on Bitcoin. I think it's going to cannibalize. Yes, I said this last stream. I think that Bitcoin is going to cannibalize every other alt. They're all also RANs. It's going to happen inevitably. Whether it's directly on L1 or there's Bitcoin layer 2s that do it. But alts will be cannibalized over the longer term. Now, of course, we are talking longer term, very long term. 10, 15 years, maybe more, and there will still be altcoins around, but it'll probably be even more, to be quite honest, but they're going to be irrelevant when compared to Bitcoin. Ivan, read the post. Read the description. Buddy. Just read it. The answer is yes. Open, public, it's posted and pinned. It's in the comments there, it's in the description as well. It's open to all. You want to see a chart that looks really bad? Here you go. Here's one. Look at that cliff that price just fell off of for OMB. There you go. There's your ordinals analysis. Nice run up, and then boom, distribution. It's because they're minting right now, so everybody's rushing to flip their mint. You can see over here with the all the buying from all the new mints coming in. But I mean, what a hellacious, like, to preserve like all your holders here from January are underwater on what they were holding. And there's buyers that were way up here at nearly 2 Bitcoin. What was this up here? 1.72 Bitcoin. Oh my God. That's better like the art. That's bad. That sucks. Will it come back? Absolutely. It's the big dog in the biz over there, so I wouldn't be looking for it to like die off. Ordinal space right now is getting cracked over the head with a lead pipe across the board, so it's an ordinals bear market in the middle of an everything bull market, and you're going to see this across the board. It's not just Bitcoin, by the way. The NFT space in general is taking some licks right now. Gotta get me the South Park Stan meme. I didn't hear no bell. Yeah. So, it'll all be back. Whales like OMB. So, it'll be back. This is the narrative that I've observed in their server is like, this is a great opportunity. So, go, 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 go. That's why you see all the buying happening there. Expired or invalid link. Shouldn't be. Oh. Okay, I'll update that. Oh, it's because it's not, I don't have enough people in my Discord to be let me correct that. It's because it's I don't have enough people in my Discord to be a community server, so I'm unindexed. So the link expired. Hold on a second. So it's got a 7-day expiration. I'll fix that. Go ahead and post it. And just to let y'all know, the Discord server is a fairly quiet server, so probably only going to hear a little bit about projects and charts. All right. So that is now updated on X. And then we'll update the link here. Yeah, if I had 1,000 people in the server, the link wouldn't expire, I don't believe. Now it's updated here as well. Yeah, you're just gonna see a bunch of memes. And look, there's people from all over in the server, so you might not want to divulge your life story. Just a tip. We're gonna get new people in the server, so also be kind. I only have a few rules. You'll see them when you jump into the server and verify, so make sure you verify. But first rule is don't be a dick if you aren't joking around, and the second rule is read rule number 1. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for this Friday. I do appreciate everybody hanging out with me today. I hope that you all have a wonderful weekend. I'm going to leave the stream up and rolling for those of you that like to listen after the stream to some tunes while you chart. So let's go ahead and set that timer. What time is it now? It's 12:45 my time. So we'll go to 1 o'clock my time, so 1300. All right. So yeah, that's going to do it for me today. I hope you found the analysis helpful. If you do have any questions, get them ready for me for next live stream. And over the weekend, because I did get a little sidetracked, had to run out of the house yesterday, so I did not get a recorded video out. So over the weekend, I will try to get one out if anything either confirms some of the things that we talked about today, or I guess, or if it doesn't, I'll try to see if I can get a video out this weekend as well for you. So other than that, again, I appreciate everybody hanging out with me here. You have a wonderful morning, afternoon, and evening, no matter where you are in the world. Please trade safe, and of course, stay safe. Do me a favor, all the social media stuff does help. Liking posts on X, thumbs up and subs and all that crap on YouTube. All the social media stuff helps. All of my information is free and will always remain free. I don't do any paid stuff. I don't have any private groups. So if you are seeing anything like that, no, it is not me. I only have an X profile, Discord, and the YouTube channel. So Twitch is just kind of there. Nobody really hangs out. Maybe once in a while people join. Mostly it's just people trying to sell me shit. You want to grow your audience? No, I'm good. Other than that, have a great weekend. You have a wonderful morning, afternoon, and evening, no matter where you are in the world. Please trade safe. And of course, as always, stay safe. And with all of that being said, Landy out.
CBR Street Gang, this is Almighty. Standing by, over.
The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
Over.